Jagmeet Singh is really trying to convince us that he's some kind of anti-establishment politician. Well, as Jay-Z once said, "We don't believe you, you need more people." You see, Jagmeet Singh's Labor Day message was designed to point the finger at liberals and conservatives for problems like inflation and the kind of economic policies that are hurting workers across Canada right now. But the reality is that Jagmeet Singh is not anti-establishment. He is the establishment. Did he forget that he's the one who made a deal to uphold the Trudeau Liberals and their minority government so that they could enact these economic policies? He agreed to support every decision they make in exchange for a small percentage of the population getting dental care. Jagmeet Singh is on the ropes. The NDP is slipping. This is an attempt to disown what he has done by collaborating with Justin Trudeau. And the reality is that this attempt by Jagmeet Singh to court union voters is getting ridiculed because we know that the NDP is actually losing union support right now. Union members are starting to flee away from a party they once trusted to represent the working class that has now become just another part of the machine. You see, Doug Ford's re-election a couple of months ago exposed what is happening with Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. Doug Ford won a majority of seats in Parliament in Ontario, in large part because of support from unions and union members who endorsed him and the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario. That's a rarity. That doesn't happen a lot. It's a once-in-a-generation thing made possible in part because of Jagmeet Singh's failings to represent hardworking men and women in this country. So now the question becomes, what happens next? With the NDP on the ropes, can Conservatives continue to build this kind of momentum? In my view, Doug Ford provided an example of some of the ways to build positive momentum. But if he's not careful, his administration might actually hurt this cause. Conservatives have to consider how they've approached unions in the past, including teachers' unions and education workers. Historically, conservatives and teachers' unions have been at odds with one another. But a true embrace of the middle class, a true effort to represent those hurt by inflation and Trudeau's economic policies means resetting the relationship with teachers too. Conservatives right now are in the middle of labor negotiations with Ontario teachers' unions and education workers. The contracts expired at the end of August. Kids are going back to school with the possibility of a strike happening at any point during the school year until new agreements are made. The next vote is happening at the end of September for the Education Workers Union to decide if they're going to give their representatives a strike mandate. So how will Conservatives react? Will they react with empathy and appreciation and understanding and say, hey, we know you're struggling right now. Let's figure out how we can represent your interests. Recognize that you are a key part of our economy, our culture, our society. Work with the unions and the union members. Communicate with the union members, even if the union bosses want to act like political operatives. Or will Conservatives go back to business as usual and give Jagmeet Singh and the NDP another chance to reinvent themselves? We'll see what happens.